I want to talk to you today about something that's very uncomfortable. A lot of times when I have talked about this in meetings or with people coaching or anything else, they kind of get a little uncomfortable because they don't even like the topic. They don't like the idea of it. They don't like anything dealing with it. And there's two very interesting words. One, two, small beginnings. Now you're probably thinking, oh man, I want to talk with you about the reality very quickly here. It's not going to be a long video, but I want to talk with you about small beginnings and why that you can turn them around. Folks, let me tell you something. I had small beginnings at the very beginning of my business when I started my first company. I struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled. I was homeless, literally. I couldn't even afford an apartment. And I lived on a guy's couch for about a couple of months. And then I lived in a guy's basement for probably 3 or 4 months. And then I lived in a single, I guess, a bedroom with a guy, paid him $100 a month for the bedroom. I was there maybe for about 5 months. But for a year, I didn't have my own place, couldn't afford it. I had small beginnings. But let me explain something. There's nothing more powerful, and I want you to get this. There's nothing more powerful to be able to build you and accelerate you quickly than having to go through small beginnings. The secret is having small beginnings is no big deal. You're going to be there sometimes. Just think about it is don't stay there. And a lot of people, once they hit small beginnings, oh, it's not going to work. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, no, it's not. They convince themselves that small beginnings are all they're ever going to have. Many people do get discouraged when they start a business, especially a home business. I know a lot of people that I work with that have home businesses, they get very discouraged. They've never had the experience of starting a business before. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to do it. They didn't know where to do it. And what happened when they started, they lacked the experience. And obviously, nothing works the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, or fifth time. It's going to have resistance. You got to figure it out as you go. But a lot of people get discouraged and frustrated. Small beginnings generally is the beginning of a large business. Did you get that? I could tell you over and over and over again, these billion-dollar businesses have started. Did you realize I did a CD one time called The Entrance, and The Entrance is about the entrance of greatness. And Papa John's Pizza out of Louisville, Kentucky. Papa John's Pizza. Everybody's heard of Papa John's, right? It started in a broom closet. Did you get that? You heard me correctly. It started in a broom closet. You ever heard of Instacart? It started at a kitchen table. I could give you 24 stories like that. Apple started in a garage. Small beginnings are normal. It's what you do with it. It's the results that come after small beginnings that build it. Most people walk away during and inside in the middle of small beginnings. That's just what they do. They say it's not going to work. It's just not worth it. Yes, it is. It's worth it. What you become in the process, what it builds you to be during small beginnings is a huge, huge potential of business. The thing about it is you're looking at other people that may have been in for several years, may have owned a business for several years, and they figured things out. You don't know what they had at the very beginning. When you sit down and talk with them, I've sat down and talked with billionaires who have sat down and people that own $100 million companies, and the small beginnings they started with, everybody has them. It's those who are willing to go through the small beginnings that end up making huge endings. Did you get that? Either they exit out of the company or they scale it up or they continue to work. But small beginnings always, 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 always come to an end. I couldn't understand why I was struggling, to be honest. I was saying, God, what's going on? I don't get it. But you got to understand there's a process. It's kind of like a meat grinder. There's a process that you must go called the messy middle. Point A to point B, there's the messy middle. And during that process, small beginnings generally show up. And sometimes it can be very much of a struggle, but small beginnings doesn't mean that it's going to have small endings. Future legends know, and I want you to get this. Future legends know The small beginnings is just part of the fire process. Did you get that? It's just part of the fire process of building success as an entrepreneur. I talked with somebody the other day that literally has done over $2 billion in direct sales and has multiple businesses on top of that. He's got a real estate business, got this business, that business. And he told me of the first couple of years he went through that he slept in his car for about 2 months. Did you get that? Slept in his car. But he said, small beginnings is nothing but a testing fire for those who want to build an enterprise, those who want to build an empire, those who want to build a conglomerate. He says small beginnings is the fire that you have to go through. He says iron goes through 2,000, 8,000 degree heat, depending upon what kind of iron it is, depending on what kind of steel you want. But it says iron must go through 2,000 degree heat in order to become molten so that it can become steel. Carbon's added in and then steel eventually after it's cooled off. He said most people don't want to go through small beginnings because they don't want to go through the fire, but it is a necessary thing if it's going to steel you for greatness. Zechariah 4:10. Zechariah 4, chapter 4, verse 10. In the Bible says, do not despise the day of small beginnings. Why? Because small beginnings are what have to happen in order to mold you, to equip you, to steel you, to do the things, the bigger things, the greater things, the grander things, the huge things that you're going to do. So just understand this. Everybody goes through small beginnings. I did. Everybody I know that's got major companies, they went through small beginnings. That's just part of the beginning process. And if you're going through small beginnings right now and you're looking at everybody else saying, I don't get it, man, they're doing so well. Understand something. They had their day of small beginnings. You're just not realizing it. And yes, there are those rare people that just get out of the gates and go, phew. But it doesn't mean that that's going to happen with all the other 99% of them. Small beginnings, and my mentor had a saying, he says, Douglas, you want to know where all the secrets are of building a huge beginning and then building a huge business? I said, yeah. He says, it's in the word small. The last word in small is all. And he says, that's where it all happens to prepare you to build something of magnificence. Like, share, subscribe to this. And guys, we're doing something special here. We're doing something crazy because we're really talking about things nobody else talks about. We're going to have a lot of strategies and tactics on how to close and how to do this, how to do that. It's going to be amazing. So I would encourage you to become part of the Fire family and look out for the videos, the short forms. Not only on the shorts, but also on the other platforms. We have them out every single day, and we are literally carpet bombing the video world with a lot of videos with stuff that nobody else talks about. Like, share, subscribe, spread the fire.